Good morning! So today we're looking at doing algebra using subtraction equations. Now subtraction equations are really quite similar to the addition equations that we did last time, except they're subtraction. So we have a minus instead of a plus, right? So here's our first example. We have z minus 7 equals 11, right? Z minus 7 equals 11. So really what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting rid of this minus 7, right? We're going to get rid of this minus 7 over here. How do you get rid of a minus 7? Well, you want to do the inverse of subtracting 7, right? The inverse of subtraction is addition, right? So yeah, again, the first step, of course, is to isolate the z, and then the second step is going to be to calculate. And that's the same for all of algebra. So in isolating z, we want to get the z by itself. Right? This is currently a z minus 7. And so to get rid of that minus 7, as we said, you're going to add 7. I always like to write that plus 7 just above and to the right, like that. Plus 7 just above and to the right, like that. And then cancel where you can. So the 7 and the minus 7 get canceled out. And I like to rewrite this every time. If I rewrite it, I know exactly what I have left. So I've got z, right? This is now gone. It's 0, so I'm not even going to write it, okay? Equals, and then what do I have over here? I have 11 plus 7. So that first step was to just isolate the z. The second step is to calculate, and sometimes that calculating step can be easy as pie. 11 plus 7 is 18. And sometimes you're dealing with decimals or fractions and you have to do a bit more work, right? But that's the calculation step, okay? But the first job is to isolate. So here, I've got a bit of a different situation. I've got negative 9 equals p, and then we're subtracting a negative 19, right? So p subtract a negative 19, right? Now you may remember that with this, we always said that when we were dealing with integers, right, that double negative is the same thing as a double positive. And that's really just a short way of saying that, oh, you can't see that at all. Double negative is a double positive, and that's just a short way of saying that subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive, right? Taking away debt is the same thing as adding money, right? So because of that, we can just take that subtracting a negative and change them to double positives. And then we have basically an addition equation, right? This is now p plus 19. So how do we get rid of a plus 19? Do the inverse of adding. We have to subtract. So if we subtract 19 from this side, we also have to subtract 19 from that side. Right, so we subtract 19 from both sides. 19 minus 19 is 0. They've canceled out, right? And then when I rewrite this, I have negative 9 minus 19 is equal to p. So now I've isolated p. I've gotten p by itself. The next step is to calculate, right? So this is an integer problem. I don't actually care anymore how you solve integer problems. However, the way I taught you to do it is that subtracting a positive is the same thing as, try blue, adding a negative, right? Subtracting a positive is the same thing as adding a negative. And then you can just use a number line, right? Negative 9 goes backwards, and then another negative. Negative 19 goes even further to the left. So we end up adding those two values to get a p equal to 9. It's a negative value, right? Because I'm in negative territory. and 9 plus 19 is 28. Okay, so here are two examples of subtraction equations. I'm sorry if the light there caused some reflections. Technical difficulties. Beep, boop, beep, boop. But there you go. And we'll have more videos like this in the coming days. Okay, so this was subtraction equations. Thank you.